Remember when you told me you believe.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the River's Edge. Today we have Miss Linda Warren. We'll be interviewing her, and she is an international speaker and author and healer and coach. And she's going to be talking to us about the spiritual world that we're in, where are we going, where we are now, and where we're going, and how can we handle the chaos that is the external world right now. So thank you, Linda, for coming.
Thank you, Kelly. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. So it is crazy out there, right? It's like chaos with the COVID and everyone's kind of going crazy. So I wanted to do this video with you. Linda's a very spiritual person. She's very connected, and get your input on it. Where are we right now in the world, spiritually speaking?
Well, there's two things that come to mind on that. Number one, we're exactly where we need to be. And people that are out and struggling with the chaos, no one likes change when they're not in control of it. So all of this has taken us into an arena of looking at our lives, what we can control and what we can't. So it's learning choices, how to go inside and find that inner peace. And how do we do that? And from a spiritual standpoint, we do that in holding space to meditate. If you're a prayerful person, you pray. And then you do what you have capacity to do that you feel is right. A lot of people don't even know what that is because they've lived a routine every day for their adult life. So the routine all of a sudden got pulled out from under them like a rug would be. So what we're doing now is saying, okay, what works for me? What feels right? I don't like that. Am I really doing the right job? Even people are changing careers because they didn't have a job during this time. So my two answers, two arenas is, number one, you do have control of your inner world. You just don't know it. And to tap that, because that gives you strength to participate in a chaotic world when everybody else is fearful. Fear is driving this. Because I'm a medium, intuitive healer, I ask spirit when this first happened, what caused this? And the answer I got was, it was a hate mentality in our DNA that consciously attracted it. The COVID? And people are going like, well, what does that mean? Well, it was, according to my spirit guides, developed in a lab by 3 people that didn't even know what they had. How is it affecting us? If you think about where we were in February and how many people have known people that have died, how many people have resisted the media and all of a sudden said, now that's not truthful. It makes us question everything. And the earth stopped. In time and space, in some ways, in some dimensions, it stopped. After 2 months, the leaves started getting greener. The airplanes weren't flying. There wasn't the pollution in the air. People weren't driving cars. Mother Nature got to rejuvenate. Probably in 2 months, what she was trying to do in 20 years. That was a miracle in itself that Mother Earth needed. Right. So we have such a huge amount of things going on. So it shook our world, and it's still quivering like an earthquake, like a magnitude earthquake. So what are we going to do next? I tell everybody, use the mantra, the best comes out of this, because energy follows thought. If our thoughts are chaotic, we're going to attract chaos. If they're in harmony, grace, and ease, we have to manifest that. We have to come to peace with that and say, regardless what's going on, I'm going to claim everybody's going to be safe.
So had we not been in the place of hate, we could have just skipped the COVID altogether and just progressed on, or it's something that needed to happen to purge out that energy?
I think it's both. If we hadn't have had it, we probably would not have had this degree of shutdown and fear. We're cleansing a consciousness that's 20 million years old. It's that old. And we have all these new children coming in that are totally awakened. They're crystal children. They know love. They don't have that ugliness and that hate DNA. So they're bringing in a consciousness. Circumstances are happening in the world. People are tired of fighting. That's not who we are as human divine beings.
I agree, but there is a lot of fighting going on.
Mm-hmm. So these waves of consciousness that some of the people talk about and channel, it's a real deal. I can see the earth getting lighter because I can see intuitive holograms. When I work on somebody, I see gray in front of them if there's negativity, or gray on the backside if they've brought in past lives with negativity. What I'm seeing now are halos around people's heads.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So people are clearing themselves. They want better.
Wow. So what percentage wise are you thinking at the beginning of COVID? How many were open to change and being not being a sheeple anymore and just following whatever believing everything mainstream media says, and what is it now, would you say, if you can just guess? I know you don't know exactly.
On a scale of 1 to 10, we've increased 50%. And that's an intuitive answer. In the next 18 months, we'll be at 74%. In the next 3 years, we'll be in the 90%. So by the end of this decade, we will have a new earth. And that new earth will be healthy. We'll have cleaner air. We'll have free energy. We will have people that are intuitive, that bring in science, that shows us what really is science, how the ethers work, how the quantum fields work. So we stop destroying our planet.
And that is the official 5D earth that we'd be living in, and the people are living in 5D?
Actually, it's 11D. People don't even understand that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So when does 5D happen?
5D's been underway for 15 summers. Okay. And when I say summers, I use seasons because that's the way the spirit guides talk to me. 5D, for people that are already on the path, awakened and allowing their intuition to tap the other worlds in a higher mindset, higher mindfulness, it has been happening for 15 years. So what percentile are on the planet right now that are fully in 5D or beyond? About 21%. And these children being born, they're already there.
And all animals are already there. Is that
They've
correct?
always been there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Sammy, living in 5D. Oh, Sammy. He looks like he's in 5D. He's very happy.
Yeah.
So I keep hearing that we are moving from 3D to 5D, and it'll be complete by the end of 2024. I don't remember who's been saying that, but would you say that's an accurate timeline? And that's when you let go of all the 3D, the old patterning and programming, and you choose from love instead of selfish and fear and hate.
The veils of going into 5D will be completely open and available as of today. There are things happening. It's like the ancients, like the Egyptians and the Mayans, they knew when a certain astrology alignment would open up the sky for higher intelligence. Okay. So I can see that, and I work with that. And I know when something comes on this planet that is like an initiation to wake people up. So we're in a veil right now between today and Monday. It's a 4-day period. And we are getting heart clearing, where people have been in separation and did not have their power, and falsify power with ego. So instead of carrying the weight of bullying, come Monday, they're going to have the peace of love in their power center. And this is an awakening.
Wow. Over the next weekend?
It's
this weekend.
It's here by Monday. It's already started.
And you think they'll be consciously aware of it? They're going to feel a shift?
And within 2 months, they're gonna be softer. They're gonna be more wanting to participate and do things right and not allow things to be done wrong.
Am I one of those people?
Yes, you are. You always have been.
I need some 5D action. I'm tired of all the 3D programming.
Yeah, 5D, it's beyond 5D. And what does that mean for people that don't know about dimensions?
Right. So when I say it, I'm just saying letting go of the old beliefs and programming. Is that how you would describe it? And for me personally, that's what
Yes. And then when we get up into the 11th dimension and on and on and on and higher and higher and higher to infinity, which is a real deal, by the way, what happens is you start gaining talents. You start gaining more brain capacity. You start being able to use your ESP where it's accurate.
That's so exciting. So, and you can't think of what it will be now if you're still in the 3D space, because you don't know until you get there, right?
Exactly. And, that makes me question how many people in what percentile on the earth, less than 5% are still in 3D.
What? Right now?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of 3D people.
3D, the way we're talking about it, we're talking about mindset. We're all 3D in physical form.
Right.
So we got to
I meant mindset. The people that believe mainstream media and just follow everything. I mean, would you consider that's a 3D mindset, right? You believe everything. You don't think for yourself. You're not questioning.
I almost want to call them, instead of 3D, I want to call them blind.
But wouldn't they be in 3D?
Some are not. They'll fool you.
Okay.
Okay. Some are in that mindset and they have more higher intelligence than a lot. I mean, they're gifted, but what it is, Kelly, is it's a cultural defining. Okay. Cultural. So, for example, people that grow up real hardcore, opinionated bloodlines, and I'm not going to call like a nation or geographical location on that. Okay, bloodlines.
Yeah.
Then they recreate that energy over and over and over. You inherit DNA. You inherit the energy patterns around the behavior you're around in that family unit or wherever you grow up.
I've noticed that.
So a lot of those cultures or bloodlines have heredity of just pure vocal. It's like this and no other way. Some of them never leave their regions or never leave that bloodline's cultural type. So what 5D is doing, what this virus has done in simultaneous order, is it has taken those blinders and said, hey, I need new vision. One blinder might be gone, or they both may be gone. And within the next 2 months, 2/3 of the population will have both blinders gone.
That's
huge.
So cool.
Oh, it is so cool. It feels good. Feels good.
Yeah, because it's like hard to imagine what the world's going to look like in that period of time.
A lot of restructuring. A lot of falling away of worn out systems. And so my intention, and I am a prayerful person, is that everybody will have the ego set aside and be intentional. Universe, I need a new livelihood. Universe, show me the way. Because everybody has an oversoul. An oversoul is that part of your mindset, your part of your higher beingness and intelligence that is connected to God source, divine source.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say, universe, I need a new direction of supply, then universe will show you. You got to ask.
Right.
And not
Right.
be holding and gripping the fear of, I'm going to starve to death. That's an old thought form. Universe has plenty of supply.
Yeah, and this rumor keeps going around that they're going to have 10 days of darkness, and everyone's like, you better stock up, buy groceries for 3 months and water for 3 months. And I'm like, what is that about? Have you heard that?
I've heard that we're going to fall off the grid. I've heard that we are going to have another quarantine. Okay.
Right.
And this is what I tell people is this earth historically has had earthquakes, hurricanes, storms, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to continue to have birthing pains from Mother Earth, have disasters, whatever they might be. So I'm not afraid, and I meditate every day, and I'm lucky enough to be intuitive. If I need something, my guides tell me. For the populace, I would say always be prepared, like a Boy Scout. Always have some water supply. Always, just like if there's going to be a hurricane or a storm, you need some supply. You need some backup. Look what happened. We were lucky. We were so lucky with this quarantine because they still kept necessities available.
Oh, completely. Nothing wasn't out of anything. I mean, toilet paper was hard to find, but I was fine on that. Sammy doesn't use too much toilet paper, so I'm good.
So my point is, are we going to fall off the grid? We are going to have some earth disasters. I am seeing an earthquake on the East Coast in 4 years. It's going to do some major damage to New York. And there may be some power out on the Upper East Side and the subway out for a couple of years. And so when I see something like that intuitively, I pray for everybody's protection. I pray for insight to do what they need to get them supplies. And they rally. New York is fabulous at rallying in disasters. So an earthquake could hit places that never have had them before. We deal with them. We cope with them. It's
Right.
historically a cycle. So to answer your question, are we going to have 10 days of darkness? We might have 5 when I ask that intuitively right now. Okay? Is it the end of the world? No. What does 5 days of darkness mean?
Yeah.
Is it the electrical systems go down because we have an asteroid hit the planet? Is it we're blocked
they're saying
from
some
the
kind of
sun?
solar flare.
Okay. It's a mix of things. Is there going to be a solar flare that knocks the power out? It feels more like a rumble of earthquakes. I don't see the solar flare when you ask me that intuitively.
Okay.
And again,
Yeah.
we have earthquakes every day.
Yeah, I thought they're relating it to the COVID. Like things were just going to shut down, and I don't know what was going to happen, what would exactly cause the 5 or 10 days of darkness, but it felt like fear mongering. And then they're like 3 months of supplies, and just, you better be careful and watch out. And these horrible things are it's like, I just tune it out because I don't want to listen to any of that.
So when you hear things like that and it gives you an uneasy feeling, that's your gut telling you there's not truth there. Okay, your soul always knows. The second thing is we are our own divining rod. We have our own monitor, and in the center of our body is a positive and negative pole. And if we close our eyes and just ask that oversoul truth and hold our fingers together like this and say, are we going to have 5 days of darkness? Yes. It's tight. If we weren't going to have it, it would go loose. Are we going to have more than 5 days? Yes. 6. It's a little giving. Okay. So 5 to 6 days. How soon? Less than 12 months? 12 to 24 months. We're going to have it. So that's today. Yes, that muscle checked positive for today in kinesiology, divining with your hands, asking with your hands. So in the next 12 to 24 months, where it feels like we're going to have 3 big events. And so prayer that's going on right now, these worldwide meditations can negate all of that.
I love that that's happening more and more often too.
Mm-hmm.
I hear about it all the time since COVID, since the March 17 shutdown, which was California shutdown. I've seen quite a few of them. And we
Mm-hmm.
just had a march for, oh, I can't think of the guy's name. I always forget his name. The one who's leading the search for the children from the underground, the human trafficking. They had a rally last night in San Francisco and in Utah and other parts of the world, and they're doing worldwide prayer and meditation, and
Fantastic.
it's really nice
so
to see.
when we hear about these things, we
Tim
have
Ballard.
the power. Pardon me?
Tim Ballard, that's his name.
Okay. So we have the power to ask the energy and intelligence to bring forth the release of all those children. We know it's happening. It's been happening for a long time. But what I intuit is the last 25 years has been horrendous.
And the people involved in that, because it gets caught up in, like, if you go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, and which just doesn't really do any good at the end of the day, because nothing's going to come of it. But how do we handle those kind of things? That is such a horrific thing, and we want to see those people arrested, but how can we help? Just pray for the kids? What's the best thing that people can do?
The best thing in my world is, number one, is pray for that mentality to be healed so that they won't be drawn to do that. It's a corrupt mindset that would ever cause harm to another person. It's blocked heart. So some of this consciousness that people are only holding love, and all the yogis talk about that, spiritual teachers talk about just love, peace. That is a true statement. Because when you have love 100% for yourself and others, you're not going to harm anybody. So that's number one. Secondly, we can ask and put out intention for our leaders to also be obliged or guided to assist. Because there are people that are doing this that keep it covered up and keep it going. So we want that to be blocked. We want all that to be blocked. I know that's a long answer to your question, but
do you think it'll be uncovered in the next year? Like more
for the United States, it's already in operation, is what I get intuitively. Okay. I see 2 rings that they've been following for 5 years. They're about to bust one, and the second one will go under on its own. So I hope I'm right. I mean, I'm usually right.
I hope so too. Yeah. And is it okay to ask if Trump is helping that cause? Am I allowed to ask that?
You can ask that, but I'm not going to touch it. And let me tell you why. There's so much flying around our government leaders right now. I just want to hold them in the light. So I don't want to add to any consciousness with any comment with that.
Okay. And does the election, does that have any impact on our move forward into the light? If one person wins or another, and I keep hearing we may not even have an election, how does that play a role in us progressing, or does it?
There will be an election. It feels right now that it will be delayed for a week unpurposely. Okay. There's something about the consciousness that's going to do that. It's going to cause a big wave of people coming out to say, this is enough. You can't dictate our populist vote. Okay. No matter who is elected, the consciousness is so strong, and we've got a snowball effect coming right now.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
That as the election comes, there's going to be a turnover in the Senate and the House. And what's going to happen is those people that are going to be elected next, half of them are light workers.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So even if they don't know it, they have right intention and right path and order. And Conscious, it's like the 101 monkey effect, where if one person does it, then the others catch on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen over the next 5 years.
That's
There's
awesome.
going to be a lot of them turn over new things that work, and the others will catch on. Because they're tired too. They don't want this havoc anymore.
Yeah, it's old. We're ready to move on.
Yeah. So that's, again, the pure heart means no war. How many more years are we going to have threat of war? 8, maybe. People have to get over fear and need to control everything because they do have fear. That's where love comes in.
And there's some people that are already, like you say, moving into the 5D and then the 11D, and then there's others that are on a different timeline. They'll experience different things, like the Mandela effect, right? Won't that be happening a lot over the next few years? That's interesting.
And since you bring up Mandela effect, for people that don't know what that is, it's like having simultaneous worlds. It's having simultaneous worlds blend into your consciousness. So if I'm here and I'm Linda, okay, and all of a sudden I'm seeing me doing another life and participating, doing something else, and it's just as real as I'm sitting here. That is a real deal. We are living simultaneous lives. Science can't measure it yet, but we are. And my spirit guides show me we have a soul with 144 aspects of self. That means any one of those 144 aspects can be inherited, incarnated at the same time. Normally, we have about 2 to 11 aspects of our soul incarnated at one time. And each one of those incarnations is a different face, a different culture, a different DNA, but it's happening on different dimensions.
That's so cool.
Wow.
I know. It's going to be interesting to see over the next few years.
So how do you handle that? You're not losing your mind, but you do need to stay grounded, and you do need to meditate and have good tools to work with.
Mm-hmm. And you think diet plays a role in helping you ground? Or does it
sometimes
more icing on the cake?
Icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Being in Mother Nature and walking outside and
so
getting
awesome.
away from electronics is the greatest grounding you can give yourself, and it's free.
Right. Go sit next to a tree and absorb the energy of the tree. Very nice. So people don't want to wear a mask. Some people do want to wear a mask, and you get fined if you don't have a mask on. How do you handle that? Because it can be very stressful when you don't want to wear a mask and you're being told to, or vice versa, and people walk around in fear. And is the mask really helping? And then the other thing is, people are getting sick and dying, and you hear that it's not really from the virus, it's from other stuff in the atmosphere maybe that's causing them to get sick. And how do you handle that? Or do we just ignore
I see us wearing
and...
masks for 2 years. So what I recommend on that, I think it's a good thing when there's elements out there that we don't know what's really happening. And
Right.
People have died. So mask, and what I recommend on that is you get a mask that feels good, that really is protection, that you can breathe. So it's not a nuisance. That's where that faulty is coming in, because everybody's got every range of masks, the temporary ones. Mm-hmm. They've got cloth ones that are homemade, that don't have breathing elements in it. That's one thing. The second thing is I've heard firsthand stories of nurses in hospitals that can't say anything out loud, that are being told to put the virus on everybody that comes in on their chart. Mm-hmm. I've had firsthand from chaplains in major hospitals in the Midwest, who it's like somebody's nephew that's a best friend of mine, saying that they're having to put the COVID on every chart of anybody that dies. And they're having a hard time going in as a chaplain, explaining to these families they died of the virus when they went into the hospital without the virus.
Okay.
So there is fudged markings on the medical charts because of the stimulus package, giving each hospital so much money for each case that's diagnosed in the hospital, that they stay overnight. And then if they were put on a respirator, that $19,000 supplement goes up to $35,000 supplement.
Mm-hmm.
So who's getting all the money out of the stimulus? The hospitals? Who put that in the package? So that's a whole nother story, rumor out there. I can't prove that, but I can say I honestly believe something's wrong when my clients who are doctors and nurses say nobody's in the hospitals. My clients that take their elderly parents to the hospital and there's nobody in the hospital. And we all of a sudden, all these people are dying. So I have had 2 cases that they died, COVID. I have one client that they had it and their child started coughing. I gave them Echinacea golden seal, an herb that the guides told me would work against this, whatever it is. 2 days, their symptoms were gone. So we've got some gray area. And so what I tell everybody is be healthy. Keep your body pH balanced. Drink baking soda in the morning. Take zinc. Take vitamin C. And until we have some calming down of the rumors and we have real hardcore facts that really are facts, then we can let go of the mask. We can get back to normal.
But you see at this point today, you see it for 2 more years.
2 summers. So we're in summer right now. And
So
next year, yeah. So how many actual months? 21.
Okay, so almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
yeah.
And do you think it is helping? It is the virus that is making people sick? I know the cases are grossly exaggerated, but people just getting in sick and getting in the hospital. Is that from COVID?
Let's re-ask that question, okay? What, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many of the people that are actually dying are victims of a virus that is really COVID, corona, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Less than 1%. That's unbelievable.
Right.
Okay.
So it's what everyone's been saying. It's the flu. It's another virus strain, and
it is. And so this was something else Spirit gave me, is it attacks anybody that's got the DNA that still has the hate memory. How can we ever calculate that? We can't calculate that. So when it's finished and it can't attack those people because there's none left, and I get in 3 years there won't be any left, it'll go away.
There won't be any virus left, you mean?
No. And there was a paragraph that was copied and pasted on Instagram from a Sylvia Brown book. And she talked about the coronavirus and how it would come up out of nowhere, shut the world down, and it would disappear overnight.
Wow. I remember
So
Sylvia
that was
Brown.
before she died,
Yeah.
that she predicted that.
Wow, who knew? Well, I like it disappearing in the night. That's a good thing, right? I'd like it to be gone now. The whole mask thing and the shutting down and people losing their businesses. That's just tough.
That's really sad. So this is what I say is we respect it. Just like you respect if you're going to swim in the ocean, you don't go out too far. If you're not a good swimmer. So if you're not a good swimmer, relate it to if you have health conditions that are compromising you and you're not a healthy person,
mm-hmm.
then respect it. Wear your mask. Be considerate of others. Don't be a carrier by not wearing your mask and then giving it to other people. If that's something that you contract or carry the spray of it.
But most people don't know they have it, right? If they have it,
No.
they don't know.
Mm-mm. No.
Interesting. So wear the mask and meditate and don't buy into all the fear mongering. Is that the
Right. Absolutely. And in order to just, it's like having water and some food supply on hand. Do a first aid kit. Get some echinacea golden seal. Get some zinc. Get some vitamin C, and have those things.
What about the hydroxychloroquine? I don't know if I said that correctly, but that's supposed to be a cure.
I think it's got complications they haven't had enough time to research that could be
Right.
very, very long time damaging. And what I'm seeing intuitively is that it can cause Parkinson's disease out in 9 years. It scrambles
wow.
parts of the neurological
Excuse me.
silently without anybody knowing. They have not tested that yet, like they should,
Wow. Okay.
based on this coronavirus.
Right.
So,
so
I wonder
crazy.
yeah, part of this thought process is when things are scrambled and it seems like people aren't telling the truth consistently. My question in conspiracy world, and I'm not a conspiracist at all, but my question is, who's making all the money off of it? If that solution, is pharma making a lot of money off of this? What businesses are being shut down? What communities are being reorganized? I mean, this could go on and on and on in conspiracy thoughts. You could make a great novel.
No, I agree, because someone's benefiting, because it just feels like it's crazy to shut down the whole world for this virus.
It really was about reorganizing the hearts and the consciousness and repairing Mother Earth.
And that's happened, right? Now we can move on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's crazy. We got to get through the next few months, get through the election, because it feels like it's going to be chaotic between now and November, right? And then maybe it won't be so topsy-turvy after the election. Things will settle a little.
It'll be 10 months after the election before we feel a breath of freedom. Okay.
Wow.
So that we're looking at
a year from now.
A year from now. And the reform is going to be subtle, but it's going to absolutely be a fine running machine when it's done. About 4 years.
If you stay centered and in your heart, none of this is going to make you crazy, right? You can stay happy, centered, and not go off the deep end unless you want to.
Well, it's like watching a soap opera. They have a hook, okay? And media has a hook every day to get you emotionally charged. So I know people are news junkies, and what I recommend is not watching the news at all. Take care of yourself. If you want to catch up.
Always good advice. Just watch The River's Edge. You'll be fine. That's all you need in life. And also, you work with people, right? You're a coach. So if anyone wants to work with you, I can put your website and your information in the information
I appreciate
below.
that.
But I wanted to look at some other questions I had written down that you and I had talked about yesterday. We talked about the real foundation of COVID and what happened, and the new Earth consciousness happening right now. Covered that, right? And how that's unfolding, how it's the best for our lives ever. We covered that. And how do we negate the illusions that create less than divine participation? I'll let you answer that one.
Okay. It's real simple. If you claim the best comes out of my life, it's the best day of my life, and you stay in that bubble of contention, it's not contention, focus, okay? And you feel it, you absorb it, then what happens is it starts moving in front of you like a machine moving a highway in front of you. And as you go down that street or that highway of light, you're a beacon of attraction, because everybody's looking for their light. everybody wants ascension, that place of moving into the light so that there is no mayhem. So how do you attract it? You claim it. You put out divine intention with your words. You feel it as if it's already here. And once you do that, you become the manifester of it. And if you are in that flow and you continue to be joyful with it, then you're a magnet for others to follow.
Nice.
That's
And
how you keep it.
I have a question on that. When you are manifesting everything you just said, what you want, and being a beacon of light, do soul contracts play a part where you're like, well, my soul agreed to experience this at this time in my life, and it, like, does that take precedence over what you're trying to do now? And we have free will, I understand that, but how do soul contracts play a role in, like, I want to create this happy, peaceful life, but then a wrench gets thrown in there. And
when you start claiming light, the soul karma will go neutral. When you really have pure heart, you gobble up your karma in your own light. So that means it goes away. What your contract was. And really, at this time on the planet, everybody's contract is in alliance with the awakening going on. That's why there's so many people that are incarnated right now that are old souls. And they're not just from Mother Earth. They're from other star systems. They're star seeds from planets like Sirius and the Pleiadians and Arcturus. And that's another thing that people don't have a clue, that we have these star, connections. The Native Americans knew, the Egyptians knew, the Mayans knew. So it's not new science.
Right,
it may
right.
be folklore, but it's a real deal for people that can communicate with those.
Do you ever tune into ETs?
Yes. I've had a lot of ship experiences, telepathic communications, and I've interviewed a lot of people and had clients that have had encounters, and they're pleasant. None of this negativity. And usually when I've interviewed people, including children that have had experience, they somehow have a gift of intellect in a certain area. So they're high frequency. ETs are high frequency, and ships are high frequency. They're overhead all the time. I can see them. And that's in that 11th dimension.
So
the reason, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was asking because I had an encounter with one. I was see if you can you tune in to see if you have, if there's one, my alien friend.
They're actually one of your helpers. So people have to understand the governments of the world are starting to release these records
Finally.
And pictures. And as long as they've been investigating and flying airplanes, they've had UFOs. So we are not alone, to coin the phrase, to copy that phrase. We are not alone, but they're not bad guys.
No, when I was 3 years old, he used to come visit me, take me up in his spacecraft for like a year, and then study me. And then he came back in about 3 or 4 months ago. And when I was lying in bed one night, he's just like, I'm the one who used to take you every night back in the day. And I was like, oh my God, that was 100 years ago. I totally forgot all about it. And I thought it was just a dream. Shona told me, she's like, no, that really happened. That wasn't a recurring dream that you had. Yeah. And up to that point, I just thought it was a dream. But it was interesting when he came back and was telling me, I just want to thank you for all you did for us. And I'm here for you if you need anything. Like, it was just such a sweet and loving energy. And he's around me all the time, a lot.
And see, that's what people need to understand and embrace, is we have this invisible realm of help that we don't know is there unless you wake up your third eye and your telepathic gifts. And that's what this new wave of light energy coming after Monday is. We're going to have more veils lifted, and people are going to start really having to learn how to harness their ESP and not freak out when you see a UFO. It's like, Hey, it's
Yeah, you
been a
kind of,
long time.
do you see the cloud formations? It looks like, is that how, that's how I kind of see it when I see it in the
Oftentimes, when
sky.
there's a big, huge cloud and it seems real thick, it's
Yeah.
usually covering up a mothership.
So cool.
Mm,
I love it. Uh, I named him Perry, by the way, my alien.
Good. You can call on him anytime. When you're in that kind of dimension, it's instantaneous communication.
I wanted to name him Herman, and he said no. He said, I don't like Herman. I'm like, I love Herman. So he said, he came up with Perry. I'm like, okay, so not what I would have
It's,
chosen.
I've heard certain mediums channel light language, and it's like speaking another language, but it's intergalactic language. It's like the common language of the ethers. And I can hear myself talking like that. And I can hear sometimes when I'm doing healing on someone, and it's like a Native American in my head doing prayers to clear the ailments. And I said, if I could just vocalize it, I'm doing it telepathically. And it's there, the knowledge. I know what the knowledge is that's being said in a foreign language in my head. It's amazing.
That is crazy. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get better at telepathy.
It's all in the request to open back up and to meditate, because when you meditate, the pineal and the pituitary gland link in like a bond. And that's the window that opens you up to your higher dimensions.
And as we go on, like you were saying, the abilities will open up to us. It's not feeling forced, right? It'll just be natural.
Right.
Would you say?
Mm-hmm. It will be
so
natural.
Exciting.
I know.
I love it. So is there any fun prediction that you can share? I don't know what that would be. Anything?
There's a couple of things. Is as the earth platelets are shifting right now, and there are some earthquakes and volcanoes and things like that, and weather change, the environmental issues are real. There's going to be there's movements coming right now with the new generation. Anybody born from 1965 to 2013, they came in to heal the earth. And so there's going to be several major energy inventions to help the cease and stopping of using up our earth's energy elements, like oil. We're not going to need oil. We're going to have natural power, like back supposedly in Atlantis and Egyptian days, they had solar power. So we're going to go back to free energy. That's the biggest prediction right now that would save Mother Earth. The second part is that food supply chains are going to change. And I was told one time by my guides that when things go extinct, like animals, the intelligence is still there. And there would be new animals that would come available on the earth that would show up out of nowhere, and they would carry this higher vibration. Remember, we're DNA. Even animals have DNA. Mm-hmm. So that's the second prediction or insight that I got, is that even though we don't want our animals to go extinct in a harsh way, sometimes they have to go through the cycle so that we can have new developments at a higher vibration. As far as global warming, there's going to be two things coming over the next 8 years that's going to assist the global warming. And that is going to be a cycle of change in the wind currents that nobody's expecting. And what that's going to do is where there's lack of vegetation will come. Where there's lack of water will surface. Because Mother Earth has been holding in her womb water supply that we don't know is there. So there's going to be some things happening naturally that will help us. And the more we love Mother Earth, the more we consciously are aware of what is real and, how do you say, just taking care of her, nurturing her, not destroying her. then what's going to happen is she will give back what we need. That's how it was all made. We're a system. We're a system of ebb and flow, and everything has its time and season. And we've interrupted that with egos.
Right. And we're retracting now from that and going back to the light and become a place of love.
Yeah. And then when you have, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to switch the topic, but if you have something else to say about that, no. Everyone seems to be wigging out on gold and silver. Buy gold and silver, buy, because the banks are going to go under. They're going to crash. A lot of them will. You may lose your money. Is there anything crazy coming to the new currency? And are we going to lose the value of our money if we keep it in the bank? Should people be buying gold and silver? Do you see any energy around that?
I see gold, yes. Silver, not yet. 5 years on silver. On the dollar going to a zero value, I don't see that for 8 years. Conspiracists that are writing about the dinar and the other money currencies that people are going to be wealthy overnight, there's a dark hand holding that back. And when I see a dark hand, that means it's a big, big energy. And I see 2 countries are holding that back. So everybody that's holding on to that, they will get money, but not to the degree at this point. And I feel very negative energy around those black hand, those 2 countries.
Oh, you don't see it going away?
Not for 4 years. So that can change. Anytime we ask and see something intuitively as, seers, clairvoyant, anything can be accurate today. And one person has free will and they're a heavy hitter and they pull the switch tomorrow, everything can change. Mm-hmm. Now I am reading the Akashic records. I am reading from the divine source. And so that's kind of like the big kahuna that I'm checking in with in knowledge. It's all knowledge. So you can always have a small window of potential for what could change with free will. But right now, if you hold a vision and you continue to ask what you need to do to grow your money and you see your money growing, then your money will grow. You pull it to you. And locking in on one of these conspiracy thought processes, like the dinar, gold, or silver. If I was a stockbroker and you were investing, I'd say diversify. Never lock yourself into one gate.
That's exactly. But everyone's saying, well, the banks crash, you're going to lose all your money. So because everything's so up in the air right now, it's crazy. So that's why I asked that.
Okay. The government's in charge would fail if the banks failed. Okay. It would stand to reason in common sense that they're not going to let that happen without a replacement already planned. Right. So cycles of the dollar going down, that's history. Do we have some economic tragedies coming? We have adjustments coming. I don't like to talk in negative terms.
So like the reset, the currency reset, is that what you mean?
I'm talking about like influx and the roller coaster of the stock markets, of currency, right. and price of oil. There's always some kind of shift that makes it rally, roller coaster, level out, go down, make money. I was talking to someone yesterday and they've been playing the stock market. They've made more money since quarantine.
Right. On certain stocks. I mean, I've been hearing that people made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, that feels right to me too. Just keep your portfolio balanced and don't do it all into one or the other.
Right.
But gold you do see going up. Gold has gone up. It's gone up like $200 an ounce just in the past month. It's been crazy.
It'll top out in a month and a half. It would be wise to buy it right now. You could hold it or sell it in the month and a half. Or you can, I would wait on the silver, 5 years.
And the gold, they were saying $10,000 an ounce, $5,000 an ounce. Is that kind of crazy numbers?
In a month and a half, it tops out. So there's, if those are the numbers, I don't see it. Okay, 4,000 at the most. That's way out in the future.
Oh, not this year.
No, for right now, it'll top out in a month and a half. It'll only go past that top out. There's different, I'm hearing different times. It depends on decisions people make. They have free will. In 4 years, it may go up again. And in 9 years, it may go up again to the rally point of where it is now. Because it's being pushed. It's really being, it's like somebody's holding its hands on the stock market and saying, just a little bit further, just a little bit further.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Okay. Lastly, one last fun little thing. Do you have any predictions for me in my life? Any fun stuff coming my way?
I just see a lot of grounding. You're solid as a rock. And what I see is joy and travels.
Yay.
Once the times are lifted where you can. And I've told you this before. I see you going back and forth to Europe. So that's
Oh, you still see that?
Yep. Germany's real strong.
Is that the new job you see coming my way?
Yes. As early as 2 months.
And
so stay after that. They have great stock.
This company's in Germany. Or I'd be selling to Germany.
Both. They have multiple
okay.
locations in Europe. 3 locations in Europe.
Well, who is it? Spit it out.
You'll
All
do
right.
really well. Okay.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Well, thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you, Kelly. It's
that was
always
really
a pleasure.
fun.
I know.
I'm sure Shona was with us this whole time, enjoying the show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Aw, so sweet.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put your information below so people can reach you to work with you for a reading or for coaching or whatnot.
Thank you.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.